So let's go back to some of our other stories. Everybody's very intrigued, aren't they, by the Stone Roses reforming. Just a picture there. They want to be adored again. You're surprised, Tom, that anybody's doing this story. I'm suggesting it's because everybody's at the age who's running television stations who remember them well and are fond of them.
Desperately trying to re-find our lost youth. I suppose it is the... I mean, I have to say, bizarrely, interests me because I'm a kind of late 30-something who was sort of a smelly student when this lot were doing Manchester with the Happy Mondays. Yeah. But, you know, if you're not aged between, I don't know, 30 and 40, you're not going to know what on earth this is all about, are you? I mean, I'm sure everyone who watches Sky News is aged between 30 and 40 anyway, and you absolutely just nail the nation on this, but... You know, there are huge amounts of older and younger people out there. You've got no idea who these people are.
Yeah, OK. More of the papers coming in. That was on the front of the Independent. Daily Telegraph's now in. Time running out on the economy. The Bank of England governor warning that a failure to resolve the global crisis will inflict pain on everyone in Britain. He, of course, speaking earlier this evening. We talked about this briefly before, didn't we? They say in a sobering assessment, if I blow it up, actually we can see it a bit better, in a sobering assessment of the world economy, Sir Mervyn warned that even if world leaders managed to agree on emergency moves to support the banking system and debt-stricken economies such as Greece, they would still not have averted the threat to global stability. So obviously a great deal of concern. Your eye was wandering to some other stories, though, was it? Did you?
Do you want to talk about MP's honey trap lover, or is that?
I don't know.
It's from a tribunal, so you're on thoroughly legit legal grounds.
OK, go ahead.
This is the Russian spy, allegedly, who spent some time working for Mike Hancock, the Lib Dem MP, who's got a terrible nickname I won't say here, but you can kind of...
Good stuff, thank you. Hold your horses.
Anyway, she worked in his office for a fair few years. It turned out that she was also his lover for 4 years running, as well as having 3 other different lovers over the same sort of a period of time. Mike Hancock, a serious part of this, he was on the Defence Committee, had reasonable access as any MP does on the Defence Committee. And the accusation, of course, is that she was working for the KGB or their successors at the FSB. And this MP has been incredibly stupid. But it's an absolutely classic Westminster sex scandal, really, of the good old days.
Just looking, actually, we were talking about the fact that the only people to benefit from the record inflation are people on state benefits and pensioners, because they'll get a better increase than they would have done. Here is the story that record inflation should not be used to set next year's rise in state benefits. Ministers have been urged because of concerns it would not be fair on working people, who therefore have to pay more. So the questions already are starting to be raised about this one.
And the TUC has made it very clear that the cost of living is rising 3 times faster than wages. So, it couldn't be worse, to be honest. And at the same time, the government is also making things worse by hiking VAT and cutting vital tax credits. So this is going to give a fresh headache to the Chancellor, I think.
This is one that Number 10 floated today on purpose. The suggestion that, in fact, people's benefits aren't going to go up by 5.2% as they should be by today's inflation figures next April at all, which potentially could, any other economic climate called shock and outrage, the government are cutting people's benefits. In this day and age, are we really going to get people losing their jobs left, right and centre?
So what would they do? Pick a random figure like 2.5%, for example?
Possibly, or just wouldn't go up at all. So I think pensions would probably go up, because it's very hard very hard politically and morally to have a crack at pensions, with pensioners struggling anyway at the best of times. But certainly, people on benefit, if working people are taking their hit, as we all are, why shouldn't benefit claimants? Is the argument. It's a powerful one.
Just looking at, across the other side of the paper as well, Tories ordered to vote against EU referendum. Does that mean we're going to get one?
No. What it means is that, no, the point is it doesn't mean we're going to get one, I'm afraid. This is the free vote that, or the vote that's coming to the Commons because of the backbench committee and because of the petition. But the Telegraph's line is that every Tory MP is going to be whipped against it. The last thing Cameron wants now is a referendum on Europe.
Just quickly as well, I wanted to take us to the story down the bottom, and this has always been the great concern. We will capture more Israelis, say the militants. We've got pictures actually from Damascus right now, in fact, of them welcoming some of those exile prisoners we talked about earlier. But this was always the great concern, wasn't it?
Yes, absolutely, and that's why this whole exchange could potentially backfire politically for Netanyahu. For now, the exchange has gone pretty well, but there are perhaps more difficulties to come in the few months and weeks to come. The concern from a small minority of Israelis is that indeed it will give Hamas the possibility to capture more soldiers, and that another exchange of prisoners will be organised, and it will be going on that way.
It's very intriguing to see pictures of President Assad being held up at that demonstration, given what's happening right there at the moment in that country.
I was just about to say, perhaps unforeseen side consequence of all this is that perhaps this has had the effect of propping Assad up for a little bit longer, shoring up some support in his country, which is, if Netanyahu intended that, was certainly is a disaster, really.
OK, you two, thank you very much indeed. Nabila Ramdani, Tom Newton-Dunn, thanks very much indeed. Very quickly taking a look then at the top stories of the papers we've had in so far. Daily Telegraph going on the comments of Mervyn King earlier this evening that time is running out for the economy. The Independent, their picture story is that Gilad Shalita's home, medicine thrown into crisis by stem cell ruling, a story we didn't actually get to. And meantime, the Telegraph talking about the malaria vaccine, which could, they say, save millions of lives. Don't forget, more of our press preview at 10 and 11:30. We will have in Andrew Gilligan and The Guardian writer Rowena Davis. Sky News at 10 is next.